resistance. Look at his body positioning, and he has to pull that back around under his feet.
Navigate fight night, key moments, replay the rounds and the action you want to see again and again.
Give it up for the Black Spring Title Grand Champions, Navi!
Into the water for the final time. He's won the race to go along with the championship.
Absolutely magnificent. What a stroke that is.
The fight starts now!
The following programme is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. Success begins with a person's will. It's a state of mind.
Better. It's out there. But you've got to chase it down. Time to cut the rope. Get stuck in. Turn him into him. Learning things my teachers couldn't teach. Reaching heights I never thought I'd reach. I'm part of a crew now, never alone. From nowhere to everywhere. I left a small town and turned it around. I was born in Blythe, but I was made in the Royal Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now! Touch. How do you like it?
Off the shoulder.
So aggressive, so focused.
Look at these two guys.
Still the undisputed champion of the world.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Sheffield. We're now just over 24 hours away from fight night in the city. Naked man on top of a building there. Sheffield's a wild place, isn't it? Not even Friday night yet. I would love to tell you these shots are from this afternoon, but unfortunately these are from yesterday, folks. And the weather, we are outdoors today. This is the Winter Garden, beautiful venue just opposite the famous Crucible. And of course we'll be in the arena on Saturday night for Dalton Smith and Sam Maxwell, who meet in £140 British and Commonwealth unification clash in our main event live on DAZN. Here we are outdoors for a high-risk weigh-in. Very, very dark, gloomy skies overhead. And so I'm hearing we are going to rush through this afternoon because the fight is getting weighed in is important.
Yeah. We may have to run for cover. Do you know what? I think we'll be all right, but I am a little cold. I've got to
You think
admit.
we'll be all right, do you?
I think
you also said the phrase, you went red sky at night, should be all right tomorrow then. Like, so that's the extent of your
I'm a terrible weatherman.
meteorological expertise. So yeah, let's not listen to Darren Marker, shall we? But yeah, we're going to be rattling through these. We've got 7 fights on the bill, 8 fights on the bill, beg your pardon. All starts on before the bell at just after 5 o'clock. Myself and Darren will be calling the action. Corey O'Regan and Jordan Ellison will be kicking us off. Nico Lavaz, of course, one of Dalton Smith's stablemates, in against a really good Spanish fighter in Alberto Motos, 4-0. Got a lot about him, this kid, and well, good to see Lavaz being tested. But looking at this guy, this could be a really good fight.
Look, he's 4-0. He's a winner.
Yeah,
he's a winner, and you can see that in his style. He can fight. He can fight. He gets on his toes. He puts the shots out. He's naturally aggressive. So it's a good challenge for Lavaz.
And then Beatriz Ferreira, very decorated amateur from Brazil, Olympic silver medalist, of course, multiple world gold medalist too, will be in action in her first 8-rounder. She's dropped a first two opponents. Stopped the first one against Carla Zamora from Mexico. It's a really good fight.
I love this fight.
We've got some really good ones.
Yeah, honestly, I really love this fight. Zamora, if you haven't seen her, she's so typically Mexican in the fact that she likes to hold the centre ring. She likes to let big shots go, and we've seen what Ferreira does. That's exactly her bread and butter. So, yeah, don't blink. Yeah, looking forward to seeing Luis Silvestre and Adam Cope contest the English lightweight title as well. Silvestre had his eliminator against Harry Fryer. Very skillful fighter, gets in and out very, very quickly. Lots of variation of feint. Adam Cope, quite straight up and down, very compact, very disciplined. Could have problems though. I think Silvestre should go into this one as favourite. Yeah, I think so. I think Cope is maybe the physically stronger out of the two. A nice high guard, but the speed of hand and foot of Silvestre has impressed me. It's going to be hard to pin down, isn't it? Janae Bostan, speaking of hard to pin down, was chatting to him this morning about their exploits stateside in the last couple of months as well. Sparred some very, very good opposition in Manny Robles' gym and handled himself brilliantly. Watched a few sparring clips on his phone. In against Ryan Amos, 10-0-1. Solid, disciplined, compact fighter who will hook with him and won't be afraid to punch with him and will be trying to walk him down and put him under pressure. Over 8 rounds, of course, he has stopped every one of his first 5 so far and got late stoppages too, 5, 6, 6 and 7. So not only has he knocked out all of his first 5, he's done so and got the rounds in too. Yeah, I thought he looked very, very good, Bostan, last time out against Kramer. He showed us a bit of everything. The variation was shot, that, like you said, the power carries late, and the confidence from that young man is just, you know, increasing with every fight. Big fan of his. Yeah, James Beach Jr. is the latest opponent for Hopey Price. He's only really lost to the best domestically at £126 and 122. Hopey Price, of course, had his last fight at 122 last time out, has moved up super tall and rangy. I think that the feeling is, particularly from Danny Wilson from Boxing Science, Dave Colwell, is that he will be a little bit stronger and more physical and probably punch harder, and those assets will still transfer. He will still be tall for featherweight, Hopey. Oh, absolutely. You know, it was interesting hearing Eddie yesterday, wasn't it? He wants and he expects to see finishes here. He doesn't want these fights to go the distance, and is that a bit of added pressure on Hopey? I don't know. Will he buzz off of that? But for sure, I think the weight change would do him a favour. It's like when you're having a conversation next to speakers in a nightclub, isn't it? What? Yeah. God. Pat McCormack is in our chief support against Tony Dixon, who was, a couple of years out after a brilliant performance against Maxim Prodan in 2019. Pandemic obviously put him out of action. A lot of people thought he won that fight against Prodan. I certainly did. Came back against Francesco Russo out in Italy, and early in the first round, caught him with the right hand, toppled him over, and he's looked good since. This is a decent test, but Pat McCormack, man, is on a you know, level, isn't he? Yeah, I've just been so impressed with Pat, and you look at this fight, you think, how does Dixon win it? How does Dixon win this fight? And you talk about experience. How do you get that experience into play? He's got to try an old man, Pat McCormack, get close, rough him up, hit him behind the head, you know, use some of the dark arts. But I just think that speed, even then, and it's not being disrespectful to Tony Dixon. He's a very good fighter, but Pat is exceptional. But that's our undercard. We'll take us all the way through to the main event. British and Commonwealth unification clash at £140. Dalton Smith's opportunity to become unified and to win the British title outright. Live on DAZN for Sheffield Arena tomorrow night. But I'm hearing the fighters are ready to weigh in. So let's rattle through these and head over to the stage. Here's David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the Steel City of Sheffield, England. Looks like the weather's holding off for a bit. We'd like to welcome you for the official weigh-in for a big night of fights taking place here on Saturday night. The whole card is being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, and JD Sports. And, of course, the whole card will go out live around the world exclusively on DAZN. It's a great fight card with a lot of young talent. We have 8 fights on the card, 4 title fights. And at the top of the bill, Dalton Smith versus Sam Maxwell. Great fight and a great night. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face the scale and face each other. Our first contest, 6 rounds in the lightweight division. Now making his way to the stage, fighting out of Seaham County, Durham. Ladies and gentlemen, a 64-fight veteran. Please welcome Jordan Ellison. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He's fighting out of Leeds. He's undefeated, 9 fights, 9 victories, one of them coming by way of knockout. Please welcome Corey O'Regan. Now to the scale, Jordan Ellison. 138.8 for Jordan Ellison, 138.8. Now to the scale, the undefeated Corey O'Regan. $137.5 for Corey O'Regan. 137.5. Corey O'Regan, Jordan Ellison, 6 rounds, lightweights, matchroom boxing from Sheffield, England, live on DAZN.
Who, of course, is in that fight about 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And, well, a good win for O'Regan could see him in the mix for the English title next. That's our first contest of the night. Second is Nico Lavars and Alberto Motos, 2 very good prospects, both ready to weigh in. So let's head back to the stage.
Our next contest, a nice little Nixon Hill scrap. 2 young undefeated fighters, 6 rounds, super bantamweights. Now making his way to the stage, fighting out of Madrid, Spain, undefeated 4-0. Please welcome Alberto Motos. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 3 wins, no defeats, 1 draw. He is the 2-time GB Championship gold medalist, the 2-time National Elite Champion, the Haringey Cup gold medalist, and the 2-time Ireland Monkstown gold medalist. He fights out of Manfield, ladies and gentlemen, Nico Lavars. Now to the scale, Alberto Motos. 122-1 for Motos, 122-1 for the Spaniard. Now making his way to the stage, the undefeated Nico Lavars. $123-1 for the undefeated Nico Lavars, 123-1.
Cameras first. Cameras first. Face to face.
Lavars versus Motos, 6 rounds, super bantamweights, matchroom boxing, live on DAZN from Sheffield, England.
Cheers, boys.
Really, really good scrap, this. Alberto Motos, 4-0, unbeaten, a genuine Spanish prospect with ambitions of his own. Good, competent switcher, decent mover, good shot selection. Bit of a bully at times as well, this kid. Very, very lively. Hello, Jordan Gill. And I think he's going to be a very, very good opponent for Nico Lavars in his 5th professional contest. 3-0 and 1, of course, that head clash in his second fight that was essentially a technical draw, but he was well in control. So he's looking to get back to essentially winning ways against Alberto Motos. Before Beatrice Ferreira steps in for her 3rd professional contest, looked really good in the first 2, as you would expect for someone with her amateur credentials, in against a very tough Mexican who will be letting the hands go early in Carla Zamora. Both are ready to weigh in 8 rounds at the super featherweight limit. Let's head over to the stage.
Can't wait for our next contest. It seems to be guaranteed action as we go 8 rounds in the super featherweight division. Now making her way to the stage, a professional record, 10 wins, 9 defeats, 1 draw, with 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Chimalhuacan, Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carla Zamora. Zamora. And her opponent now making her way to the stage. Her young professional record thus far perfect. 2 fights, 2 victories, one of them coming by way of knockout. She's the 2020 Olympic silver medalist, an amateur world champion, fighting out of Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. Please welcome Beatriz, the Beast Ferreira. Ferreira. And now to the stage, now to the scale, Carla Zamora. $130.4 for Zamora, 130.4 for Carla Zamora. And now to the scale, the undefeated Beatriz, the Beast Ferreira. $132 bang on, 132 pounds bang on for Beatriz, the Beast Ferreira.
To the cameras first. Face to face.
Ferreira v. Zamora, 8-round super featherweights, Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Sheffield, England.
So all action in our third and final contest on before the bell. They're ring walking just after 6:25. Beatriz Ferreira in her first 8-rounder. She had 4-minute rounds in her first contest as a pro. This is just 2-minute rounds. And then we'll go live on DAZN at 7 o'clock. English lightweight title fight on the line between Lewis Sylvester and Adam Cope. And I'm hearing they're both ready to weigh in, and the rain is starting to come down. So let's head to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 10 rounds for the vacant English lightweight championship. Now making his way to the stage, undefeated, 7-0, 1 knockout, fighting out of Hartlepool, Adam Cope. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, also undefeated, 11-0, 3 knockouts, fighting out of Hull. He's the Thrill from Gypsyville, Lewis Sylvester. Now to the scale, Adam Cope. $133.9 for Cope, $133.9. Now to scale, the Thrill from Gypsyville, Lewis Sylvester. $134.3 for Sylvester, $134.3. Sylvester versus Cope, 10 rounds for the vacant English lightweight title.
So both inside the 135-pound limit, 10 rounds for the English lightweight title between Lewis Sylvester and Adam Cope. Our first fight on the night on DAZN tomorrow night. And then Junaid Bostan returns to action. His 6th professional contest against Ryan Amos. Let's get them weighed in.
Another cracking fight, another Nixon Hill. Here we go, 8-round super welterweights now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 10 wins, no defeats, 1 draw. One of his wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the reigning and undefeated Midlands area champion. He fights out of Nottingham. Please welcome Ryan, the Punisher Amos. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is also undefeated as a professional. 5 fights, 5 victories, all 5 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Rotherham. He is a 2-time amateur national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Starboy, Junaid Boston. Now to the scale, Ryan Amos. 155 bang on for Ryan Amos, 155 bang on. And now to the scale, the undefeated Junaid Boston. $155.4 for the hard-hitting man from Rotherham. $155.4 for Junaid Boston.
To the cameras first. Face to face.
Junaid Boston, Ryan Amos, 8-round super welterweights. Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Sheffield, England. 2 undefeated fighters. Starboy versus the Punisher, 8-round super welterweights.
So Junaid Boston's second 8-rounder, stoppages in all of his first 5. Tough man, heavy-handed. Ryan Amos in front of him as well. Looks confident, doesn't he? That's our second contest of the night before we head to Hopi Price's featherweight debut. Another 10-rounder against a more experienced man in James Beach Jr. from Bloxwich in the West Midlands. They're ready to weigh in, so let's head back to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, we go 10 rounds for the vacant WBA Continental Featherweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 15 wins. He has 4 defeats with 2 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning IBO Continental Featherweight Champion. He fights out of Bloxwich, Walsall. Please welcome James Beach Jr. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He's a southpaw with a perfect professional record. 10 fights, 10 victories, 3 of them coming by way of knockout. Here is the IBO International Super Bantamweight Champion fighting out of Leeds, Hopi Price. Now to the scale, James Beach Jr. 125.2 for James Beach Jr., 125.2. And now to the scale, the undefeated Hopi Price. $125.5 for Hopi Price, $125.5 for the undefeated Hopi Price.
So Hopi Price looking to go 11-0 tomorrow night live on DAZN. And then we'll move to Pat McCormack in our chief support. Olympic silver medalist, world medalist as well. Really the only man to top him at the top end of the amateurs in the international ranks was Roniel Iglesias, who's probably one of the best across any weight divisions in the last 10 years. He's in against Tony Dixon, who's had a bit of a career resurgence. It's what many people thought was a victory.
James Beach Jr., 10 rounds for the vacant WBA Continental Featherweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing, live on DAZN from Sheffield, England.
Against Maxim Prodan a couple of years ago, came back and starched Francesco Russo over in Italy. And he's shown that he's more than just a pressure fighter. Can box and move a little bit as well. Will try and do his best to ask questions of Pat McCormack. No easy task, though. Good news is the sun has just pushed through the clouds, so we might be all right here. That's Hobie Price there. One of Dave Colwell's charges, took his boys stateside, as well as Grant Smith's lads. Did some good sparring as well in Manny Robles' gym and around the gyms in America. A lot of good experience for him. How will he look in his 126-pound debut tomorrow night against James Beach? We're hearing that Pat McCormack and Tony Dixon are just readying themselves backstage. Tony Dixon will do his best to ask questions. And we did see against Prodan that he can box and move. He can think his way through contests. He will do his best to ask questions. But from what we've seen of Pat McCormack so far, and the sort of pedigree, and hearing how Ben Davison speaks of him, given the fighters that he has trained so far in his career, this kid looks like he's going to go a long, long way.
I've no doubt about it. It's such a tough task for Tony Dixon, but it is a challenge that he needs at this stage of his career. What can Dixon do to upset this charge? It's going to be a tough night for him. I've been so impressed with Pat, who hasn't put a foot wrong, and yeah, I've no doubt will go a very long way in this sport.
Yeah, he stopped Dario Sochi in the 8th and final round, and Sochi, of course, had gone pretty much life and death with Troy Williamson a couple of years before, and well, he didn't lay a glove on this man. But he is ready to weigh now, as is Tony Dixon. 10 rounds at an agreed weight of 150 pounds. Let's get them weighed in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to weigh in the chief support of the evening as we go 10 rounds for the vacant WBA Continental Super Welterweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 14 victories. He has 4 defeats with 4 wins coming by way of knockout. He's the former Welsh area and the reigning reigning super welterweight champion. He fights out of Mountain Ash, Wales. Please welcome the Welsh Terrier, Tony Dixon. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated, 4 fights, 4 victories, with 3 of them coming by way of knockout. Here is the 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medalist, the 2019 European Games gold medalist, and the 2020 Olympic silver medalist fighting out of Washington in the northeast of England, Pat McCormack. And now to the scale, the Welsh Terrier, Tony Dixon. 148.7 for the Welsh Terrier, Tony Dixon, 148.7. And now to the scale, the undefeated Pat McCormack. $150.2 for Pat McCormack, 150.2. Pat McCormack, Tony Dixon, chief support, 10 rounds for the vacant WBA Continental Super Welterweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing, live on DAZN from Sheffield, England.
So our chief support, McCormack and Dixon, over 10 rounds, live from the Sheffield Arena tomorrow night on DAZN. Before we head to our main event, Dalton Smith looking to go outright as British 140-pound champion and unify the Commonwealth titles with Liverpool's Sam Maxwell. 34 years of age now, 17-1, stopped by Alejandro Menendez, the Mexican, couldn't miss him with the right hand a couple of fights ago. He got back to winning ways, but this man, Darren, the variation of the right hand, the way he throws it, that could be his money punch, couldn't it, tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think so. The way he mixes it up, straight, hook, works the body really, really well. They could be crucial, the body shots, but it's who wants it more, who wants to go to that next level, you know, because the winner of this goes on to real big fights, and yeah, I can't wait for this.
He looks focused and ready. In a hometown headliner, Dalton Smith, he and Maxwell will be hitting the stage and hitting the scales, so let's hand you over now to David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome everybody out here today to Sheffield, England, for the official weigh-in for our main event of the evening, taking place here on Saturday night, as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing is proud to present 12 rounds for the British and Commonwealth Super Lightweight Championships. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. His professional record, 17 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 11 big wins coming by way of knockout. He's the former British, Commonwealth, and WBO European champion, fighting out of Liverpool, Super Sam Maxwell. Maxwell. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated as a professional with a record of 14 fights, 14 victories, with 10 of them coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the reigning, the defending, and the undefeated British and Commonwealth Super Lightweight Champion, fighting out of the Steel City of Sheffield, England, Dalton "Thunder" Smith. And now to scale, Super Sam Maxwell. 139.4 for Super Sam, 139.4 for Sam Maxwell, the challenger. And now to the scale, the undefeated, hard-hitting Dalton "Thunder" Smith. 139.4 for the reigning and defending, the undefeated British and Commonwealth Super Lightweight Champion, Dalton "Thunder" Smith. Dalton "Thunder" Smith, Super Sam Maxwell, 12 rounds for the British and Commonwealth Super Lightweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Sheffield, England.
Good to see two fighters in that kind of condition, but also not looking depleted or too dry. Some words exchanged, but they've been very respectful all week. Sam Maxwell, we know, carries power. You can see there he's going to have a little bit of advantage in terms of height and reach. He's got to hit Smith with something hard early to get his respect in order to make that count, right?
100%. He has to gain Dalton's respect early. He can't be bullied. He can't be sort of outworked and hope he can find something late. He's got to try and be competitive early. It's going to be tough. Dalton Smith, he really, I feel he feels he's got a point to prove. Wants to show that, okay, these below par performances, you could say, of late, just kind of maybe lack of ambition. I'm not too sure. Just feels like
he was unwell going into the Casey Benjamin fight, really unwell, and they nearly pulled him from the fight. And then against Allington, I think it was a bad start, man.
Yeah, and I just don't think he wants to make any excuse. We can make them for him, but I think now he wants to put all of that to one side and put in a really blistering performance. I feel that aside from the titles that are on the line here, which are very, very prestigious and mean an awful lot, the winner goes on to some really big things. You heard Eddie talk about it yesterday, so the motivation's there, the pot of gold's there, and I just feel with what's on the line for Maxwell as well, is this his last crack? So that adds another ingredient into the pot. It all makes for a fantastic contest.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn said he won't be afraid to be critical of his top prospects and contenders, 4 or 5 of which are going to be in action tomorrow night. This is his main man in Sheffield on DAZN tomorrow night, and he has high hopes and ambitions for him. Could he be in with the likes of Liam Parrow, Stevie Spark, Montana Love, if he gets through this in good style? And Eddie Hearn says he needs to. It all starts just after 5 o'clock on Before the Bell. Myself and Darren will be calling the action. Corey O'Regan and Jordan Ellison will be first up in a 6-rounder. Then Nuke Elevars and Alberto Motos, 2 very good prospects. Really good scrap this over 6 at Super Bantamweight. Then Beatriz Ferreira, the Olympic silver medalist, against Carlos Zamora from Mexico. That's going to be a hell of a tear-up over 8 finished proceedings on our pre-broadcast event. They'll then go live at 7 o'clock for an English lightweight title fight between Lewis Sylvester and Adam Cope. Janae Bostan has been in great form so far. Can Ryan Amos give him any problems over 8 rounds? Then Hobie Price makes his £126 debut against James Beach Jr. from the West Midlands. And then Pat McCormack, the Olympic silver medalist, highly decorated amateur, who's looked imperious so far, goes into his 5th contest against Tony Dixon. And then, of course, the main event, Commonwealth and British unification at £140 between Sheffield's Dalton Smith, who headlines in his hometown tomorrow night against Liverpool's Sam Maxwell. We're looking forward to it, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon from just after 5 o'clock on Fight Night. Thanks for your company, folks.
You know, it's just about being resilient, you know, sticking it out. That one more rep, that one more punch, that one more round. And it's always got me to where I am now.
It's perfect punching from Dalton Smith.
Lovely 1-2 by Maxwell.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you'll lose, you lost. Success begins with a person's will. It's a state of mind.
Better. It's out there. But you've got to chase it down. Time to cut the rope. Get stuck in. Turn him into him. Learning things my teachers couldn't teach. Reaching heights I never thought I'd reach. I'm part of a crew now, never alone. From nowhere to everywhere. I left a small town and turned it around. I was born in Blythe, but I was made in the Royal Navy.